Well, that's what I wondered. In the quote, it seems to me that, for me, the key word is the word entire. You're not saying like most of our physical experience or 99%. You're saying the entire physical experience.
In my own experience, anything that has developed in my life after the age of 7, I've been able to impact. So I don't know, I haven't worked with anybody who's come into this world as a baby born with something. So I don't know about people, for example, some children are born autistic. I don't know about that, right? I haven't worked with that. I haven't worked with those. But then again, so you see the whole nature of this work, one can get misled by one's symptoms. This work is not about symptomatic relief. Okay, so it's not about, this work is not about that. And so it's not about, that symptomatic relief work is about getting rid of things out of one's experience. This work is about moving from reaction to response. And that's what I learned about this work, is that although I was brought in by my pain, the painful condition I had, at some point in my journey, even resolving that pain wasn't why I was doing the work. Well, the reason I was doing the work was I wanted to become responsible for my experience. I wanted to be able to respond to my experience, and I find the most efficient way to respond to my experience is to stay with what's happening in my feeling body, and to use my physical body and my mental body, or my physical circumstances and my mental condition, as a barometer for what's going on in my feeling body. Because sometimes you don't even know that there is an emotional condition underlying there. We've become masters at suppressing and sedating our emotional condition. So if I see there's physically niggling physical circumstances, there's certain physical circumstances that upset me, I can use that as a barometer to know that there's an emotional signature underneath that needs tending to. Sometimes I may have repetitive thought patterns, and those I get stuck on a particular thought pattern, and it's no point in me trying to change the way I'm thinking in that moment. I found that is futile. But what it does tell me is that underlying that thought pattern, there is an emotional signature that's driving it. So then I open myself to sinking into that emotional signature. And when I allow that emotional signature to surface, and I become conscious of it, that thought pattern is gone. And those physical circumstances that were annoying me or irritating me or upsetting me no longer do so, which continually reinforces the fact that only when I adjust the emotional undercurrent, that the emotional undercurrent, or the emotional, and that's the pathway of awareness, the vibrational is moving through the emotional, through the mental, and into the physical. And when we're physically transfixed beings, or we become completely mental as we are now, we don't have an awareness of the emotional component of our experience and what role that plays. We don't realize that the emotional is like a lens that you wear, and whatever condition that the emotional body is, I call it the heart of the matter. This is the matter. The heart of the matter is whatever condition the emotional body is going to reflect what that vibrational state, is going to be distorted into that emotional condition. So for the best example that I can give is the one of peace, right? Because the world believes that we have to make peace, and that is a perceptual error. You can't make peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace. So what people do to make peace in their own lives, or as what politicians do, is they rearrange physical circumstances. And they go around trying to rearrange, okay, I'll give you this piece of land, or we'll move this over there, or we'll, do some sort of physical circumstance, or we'll give you this country, or whatever we'll do. And in our own lives, we do the same thing. I want peace, so I'll give you half my money, or we'll move to this neighborhood, or we'll do something physical to try and make peace, right? But peace doesn't come, and never comes out of that. Or we can do mental things and say, listen, let's talk about this, and let's come to some agreement so we can be at peace. But talking and coming to agreements has never brought peace to anybody. It's really just sedated. For a few moments, it sedated the conflict that's there, sedated and controlled it. So peace, because peace is a feeling. It's not even a feeling, peace is a vibration that exists in every moment, a vibration that can only be felt. We only know we're at peace when we feel peaceful. So that again shows that the feeling aspect of our being is the causal point of the quality of that experience. It's the one that has the capacity to enable us to realize what it is we're seeking. If people are not, so it's not a case of making peace. It's a case of realizing what's obscuring the peace, and what's obscuring the peace is a situation in which the emotional body is either distorted and it's been imprinted with patterns that are causing resistance in the being, which causes heat, and that heat causes emotional experiences like fear, anger, and grief, which obscure any of the vibrations of peace in the moment. And in fact, what they do is they take the vibration of peace and they distort it into this fear, anger, and grief. And that's what the person is feeling, because there is only peace. It just can be distorted into other things through the emotional body. Or else, we're sedating and controlling our emotional body to such an extent that if I sedate and control the condition of my emotional body, I'm simultaneously sedating and controlling my capacity to feel. And therefore, I can't realize peace even if I want to. No matter how many physical, spiritual practices I do, no matter how much mind power courses and mental affirmations I do, because peace is not a physical circumstance nor a mental condition. It can be reflected into our physical circumstances. It can be reflected into our mental functioning. But essentially, if the emotional body is not integrated, if the heart is not open to allow the vibration through and feel it, and have the capacity to feel it, and have the vocabulary to feel it. In other words, the emotional body or the feeling body has to be developed to a point that it can feel the peace. And that development comes through feeling our fear, anger, and grief. So always coming back to the emotional body, always coming back to the emotional body.
So but is my understanding right then, if I'm having an experience in the physical, if something's happening that is uncomfortable,
Yes.
then can I narrow that down and say, well, then what's happening here is I'm having an emotional discomfort that's showing up physically.
Well, you can take anyone that is uncomfortable in the physical world. Anyone.
Anyone or
You can take anyone that's
experience.
uncomfortable in the physical world,
Okay.
and you can lead them to the emotional signature of that. Underneath that, you see, and that's the thing about what I call emotional body awareness, is we live in a situation where emotional body awareness is shut down. So that's why we go to the physical and the mental to try and adjust our experience. Because even though a person is having a strong emotional signature, if their emotional body awareness is shut down, they don't even have the capacity. You see, to know about my emotional content requires insight. To know about my mental and physical experience requires outside. It's all happening outside. The mental world is, it's outside. We leave the body to go into the mental world. We go off. If I'm thinking about my brother in South Africa, now I'm there. I'm gone, right? So, and that requires outside, and most of us live outside.